Hello, beautiful viewers of Jasiri. I want to say thank you for tuning in today. If you're a lady watching the show right now, just know that you are Jasiri's woman crush. I'm sending you loads of hugs from here. So ladies, let's get the show rolling.
Yes, and speaking of Woman Crush Wednesday, I came across this very inspiring post from Funke Adejumo. Now, she is such an incredible woman. If you know her, her journey to finding love and fulfillment after turning 40 is truly inspiring. And in her words, she said, "And so my journey continues. And I thank the Lord up above for it all because my life truly started at 40. I got married at 40. I started my YouTube channel at 45. I got pregnant at 48. Ooh. I gave birth at 49. I had my first collaboration with the beauty brand at Juvia's Place at 50. I got a second beauty collaboration with the same beauty brand at 51. I had my third collaboration with shapewear brand at 52. My YouTube channel is grown to over 600,000 and got verified. My Instagram page grew over 100,000 and got verified. And at 53, I'm launching my own brand this year. Everything happened to me later in life, and somehow, against all odds, I'm still here doing my thing. Just because it's delayed does not mean it's denied. God is so good. Age is just a number. Maturity is sexy. Keep going, sis. That is so inspiring.
We love it.
Wow.
We love it.
Wow.
I
so much love it.
Man, I love it.
So
I think the
inspiring.
first thing I'll say is society, and that's not just Nigerian society, all over the world, they like women to think that the height of your life is in your 20s and your very early 30s.
Yeah.
It is not.
Meanwhile, in your 20s and 30s,
You still don't know crap.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't know nothing.
I think the only thing that people are vocal about is when they say your biological clock is ticking. But generally, society counts for you. Like all rounder, your clock is ticking. They're expecting that.
It's as
at
if
25
everything
you're
is
doing
always stacked against the woman. We're the ones that they want us to morph. In fact, people actually think that we're a hydra, like a demon with 500 hands.
We're octopuses.
We're octopuses. We can do more than one thing at the same time. They forget that everything comes to everyone differently. Just like you can find your groove at 20. Some people find their groove later on in life. Yeah. Remember this guy that died? Okay, racing number one.
Wow.
He had his fame. He got his big break in his 60s. And, you know, so for me, it's really not about anything.
And I think we also should take note, even though we're talking about Woman Crush Wednesday, that men also have that pressure. Like, I heard a 26-year-old boy saying, I'm 26, you know, he's working, he's earning. And he's like, I need to be responsible for my family. I need to be responsible. You know, my girlfriend is this man. And I don't blame him, to be honest. I feel like it's because they've made him feel like you need to provide. You need to stand up and, you know.
So you're born and people have a checklist of supposed milestones you should be hitting at different ages. And it's not true and it's not fair. We know the people who have faced depression. Like you said, we're going to open the Jasiri table one day to a guy, really, to talk about the pressures that young men are facing now. But bringing it back to Women Crush Wednesday, blessings. We're bringing it back. Her first child at 48. 49.
Yeah,
she got pregnant at 48. She had a baby at 49. Literally, they're telling you that if you're not married by 40, if you don't have children by 40, the world is
over for
and
you
it's not
as a
true.
Look at how
she's a woman, a stunner.
Oh, wow, she's a stunner. And one thing she said at the end, let me tell you, she said, age is just a number, maturity is sexy. I think I said it before. I know I don't look my age, thank you, Jesus. But there's some sense of sexiness that came at 40. And I think it came with maturity. It came with more acceptance of my body, more acceptance of my accomplishments, my flaws, what it is. And I just felt it. Lolo likes it. The two of you are evil. I'll come into the studio some days, you'll just be like, Auntie, what's good? Yeah. There's just something.
She came to herself.
I came to myself.
Yeah, Mr. Rotimi found a
Tolu had a meeting.
I had a metamorphosis.
She's constantly having meetings with herself, and they come up with an agreement. Because sometimes she comes to the studio and three of us look at one another and say,
I won't even lie, it's very beautiful, it's admirable. Like a lot of times she comes and she says, oh, she's trying this weekend, she's doing it. I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Of course you can't relate because you're such a child.
As young as I am to get myself out of the house.
You have, I just want a young girl out there you have so much in front of you. Don't let anybody's pressure for timelines and milestones be the definitive writing on your book. You're writing your own story. This, as in her first collaboration. And what I love about social media is I've seen so many stay-at-home moms, career women, women who didn't know what they were doing, find a purpose on social media.
I think
I love it.
I think exactly what happened with the birth or the dawn of COVID, it's that at first when you looked at COVID, you thought that was the end of it for everybody. But COVID opened up a whole different level of connection, of networking that people never thought existed. Till today, some people are working that level of connect and that level of networking, and they don't move from their home. Telling the line that Tolu raised, that stay-at-home moms are making
I'm just super
and you're just doing it from the comfort of your space, and you're wondering what the heck,
And
where was I how many years ago?
I just love when women got it together. You know, there's so many people that tell us this is what a woman should do. I would dress a certain way. They say, oh, Lolo, you're dressing too young. I'm like,
am I supposed to age everything?
I'm just supposed to dress my body. I think what I am expected to do is dress my body the way I feel. And now, every woman's standard differs to the other. And look at this table. Our personal style is not the same. But that doesn't mean that Tolu's own is bad and Kathy's own is not.
I think
we just need to own every stage you are in life.
And not be afraid to explore. Don't be afraid to push the envelope. Lolo is giving me that mischievous look. She knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Talking about owning the stage you are, I want to say this to every young lady like myself out there. I've heard so many women. I realize that a lot of young ladies their time doesn't count until they get in a relationship. I'm not even talking about marriage. Somebody was talking to me. This is someone that I'm older than with 5 years, as young as I am, right? She was still in school and she just graduated, so she was about to go for service. And, you know, I was like, okay, you're going for service. What do you intend to do? I would advise, because that's something I did. When I finished school, I learned everything I could. I learned how to play the piano. I already knew how to sew, but I just tried to learn a lot of things to be for myself. You know, so I was like, okay, so what are you learning? What are you trying to do? And the only thing she said was, I just need someone to love me. Like, she has seen, you know, people in relationships that she just wants to get married. She just wants someone to love her. I'm like, okay, fine. I hear that. But what do you want to do? She said she just wants to get married. Like, when she's married, she can figure out that her life will start. I'm like,
blessings.
It will surprise you that a lot of people, their life doesn't count right now.
I need to tell you that that girl was me some years ago.
Wow.
You know, I had a boyfriend at that time that he said to me, I thought I was going to be a pastor's wife. So all through university, I was already doing, you know, mommy Gio kind of thing and everything.
So that means you and I would not have been friends in uni.
No. I was very coy. Throughout,
she would have been praying for our souls.
Yeah, I would be praying for your souls. In school, my life was just triangle. But what I'm getting to is that I had a boyfriend at that time. After I had my law school exam and everything, and he said something to me. He said, it seems you have no goal in life but to be my girlfriend or my wife. You know, when he said that to me, and this is someone that told me that I love you for who you are, he would buy me stuff. Then he said that I think your future, you're going to be overweight and you might be ugly. So I don't think and he broke up. I lived in depression, but I want to thank him immensely, because if he had not said that thing, that year he said that thing to me was the year I started my NGO. My NGO now is 23 years, and I'm not even the founding president. I'm the founding president, but I am not the current president. We are president.
You've grown it. It's grown beyond you.
So I understand when she said that. So this thing you're telling young women to do, if you read my book, when I get physical, you would know that you are doing yourself a lot of disservice by not getting to know you. Yes. This sexuality I have, this openness came to me at 34. And I had been married, I'd had 4 children, I'd been separated before I became who I am.
You know,
really.
We had a hand in this.
This girl, Catherine. No, there's so many times I keep telling people that pray that you find your tribe early. Because there's some people that hold your hand. You need them. All this, I'm an island. Nobody was meant to stay alone. No, but the privilege of something like a blessing. Imagine when she gets married, we're going to be there. When she has her baby,
we have a bride price list that is separate from her family's bride price list.
That's what she's always saying. Nobody will wear that.
No this and no peace.
There's a separate Jasiri Ashwebi.
There's a mother and then there's the mothers.
But you know, this thing is a privilege. I keep telling women that you need to find an older woman mentor, somebody that has lived and is willing to help you, so that the hurdles she had crossed, you don't have to fall into every pit and hole. You can. I tell my daughter, I said, Ara, I'd rather you make new mistakes. But the
make my
ones I have
mistakes.
made,
That's powerful.
do better.
But let me be honest, right? And this is me speaking for myself. I tried for 3 years to find a mentor.
What was the issue?
I was telling you yesterday that when I started media newly, I was still serving. There was this lady that I really liked. You know, she wasn't really popular, but I had seen her on TV before. So she was one of the people who auditioned us, and she asked me to read something. At that time, I didn't even know if I wanted to be on TV. I just wanted to do media, you know. And then I read, and the next thing she said was, "I know your type. Better calm down and learn." And since then, I worked there for a year plus. No, I'm not going to say her name.
But you whisper to me.
So that we can pinch her when we
for a
see
year
her.
plus. She didn't say a word to me.
Wow.
Like several times, I want to ask her a question, like, "How do you do?" I see
Okay,
her
guys,
doing things.
I'm going on a break. This thing you will tell me.
Wait, but me, you came here, you did not ask me to be your mentor.
No, that's it. Like I don't know how to vocally ask people, but I try to get
But you
close to
shadow,
people,
shadow.
and then I do. That's one thing.
Like me, I don't have a physical mentor too. I respect women that do, honestly, maybe because a lot of things came to me early. And it's not something I enjoy. Most of the time, everywhere I am, I'm usually like the one-eyed Sunday among black people. So it gives me this false sense of
the name.
But I consciously submit to other women that I respect.
Yeah.
But some of them don't give you as much access as you. If I still see an Ibuka Oshika, I'm still tongue-tied around her, and I'll just
Lolo does that.
No.
So she's getting us to a point of where our conversation today is going.
yeah.
So Catherine, take it away.
But
from there.
you know, just FYI, Tolu is a fantastic mentor. We've known this woman since radio. We can't forget. We've known her
You
day.
see that she has to
She's a
collect form.
fantastic mentor because Tolu will call you out on your mistakes without being derogatory.
Yeah.
And she will smoothly move on. Like that didn't happen, guys. Listen, she says it and then she moves. And there's nothing you will ask her for. She doesn't have time to explain to you.
And she teach you how to cook and catch a nice guy. At least among us are friends.
Honestly, I'm not saying it because
Give me a
she's here.
list. We'll send the list to Mr. B. We'll find you.
Okay, guys, let's take a short break. But don't go anywhere because when we come back, we'll be crushing on women that have impacted our lives and have inspired us to be better. Tolu is one of them. Stay tuned, just we'll be back.
Not crushing women or crushing on.
Catherine's body is still vibrating. She wants to go and defend blessings, but that's what we're here for, conversations. And it might be a difficult one, but also a conversation that has to be had. Welcome back. We're streaming live on social media platforms. We are at New Central TV. Please use the hashtag Jasiri to be part of the conversation so we know you're watching. Today's conversation promises to be heartfelt and inspiring. We'll be honoring and recognizing the incredible women who have inspired and impacted us in various aspects of our lives.
So, you know, when I saw this script, I saw I want to kick it. I'm like, I don't want to.
And when I saw it for blessing,
why do you guys think I always have something to say?
I know.
Well, immediately
You're the
I saw it,
storyteller.
something came.
So you do have something to say.
We have to have
Can you see?
So
Once upon a time.
Story. Blessings have stories.
No, but I'm just going to say that my mom, of course, I always talk about her, but I never really talked about my sisters. I have, I think, 4 sisters, and I'm the last one. And thinking about it now, I saw how impactful they were in my life. I remember one time I was younger and I felt so inferior about everything, especially the color of my skin. So I hated it when people called me blackie, you know, and things like that. And my sister called me one day and said, "Do you know that you're one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen in my life?" And I was crying, and she was like, "When I call you blackie," because she didn't used to call me blackie, but she was like, going forward, when I call you blackie, it's because I love your skin, I love how you look, and you have such a beautiful body, and you're going to grow up to be. I'm like, oh my God. So since then, I would rather you call me blackie than anything else. Like, my sisters really instilled that level of confidence in me. Aside the fact that I never really, do you know that I never bought any clothes until I was 25?
You used to steal too, right?
Yeah.
Thank God. It was like,
Lolo, all these last bonds.
I'm a last born.
I'm a last
so
born.
I
What
totally,
Yeah.
you know, when she said that, my eyes misted because my elder sister was like my mini mom. The things that she had done for me, Bola Jaluko, is amazing. I remember there was a time in school that, you know, we had like Miss Hostel. And because I was very good with English and literature, there was this copper that came to serve as a man. He was a literature teacher. And I was the best in literature. Honestly, I was so good at it. So the man had an affinity for me. And everybody just seemed to think that the guy was having some kind of relations with me. Do you know what they did to me in my hostel? They drew a caricature and they had the guy's genital was coming out of my mouth, supposedly. And before God, I had never been with a man. The first man I was with was the father of my children. So I was so traumatized that even the hostel, they didn't let me go home. The proprietor of the hostel said I was a slut, I was this, I was that. And my father came and they told him the same story. What? But you know, my sister was in university. She came from school to see me in school and she held me that I know none of these things is true. I love you, you're my sister. I will always take care of you. You know, that thing there, when I look at her these days, there's hardly anything my elder sister can do that can upset me.
Yep.
She's someone that will come. Every show I've had, she will fly from London to Nigeria. So why would I say she's not inspirational? Abolaji Aluko is one of the most inspiring people to me, and she's the one I'm after. And there's 9 years between us. So she's like...
Why are we so similar?
Honestly, it's...
What was mommy looking for again after 9 years gap?
They wanted her to have a boy. In fact, when there was 9 years gap, there were so many things that formed me in my early years that gave me low self-esteem. So my father thought that the tide would change when I came. That's why my name is Omotunde. Omotunde is just, my own means Omo, me, Tunde. Another child is here. Not significant, no special. Just another child as shall come. Because when I was born, they thought I was going to be a boy. So when my mother saw me, the first thing she asked was, what did I birth? When they said she was a girl, her blood pressure went up. She almost died. You know, so some of these things form us, and there's great women.
This is the trauma I've mentioned many times. I love you, babe. This is the trauma I mentioned many times. And funny enough, Lolo's story is like mine. I'm the last born of 4.
After 9 years too.
8. After 8, they thought I was going to be a boy. I've lost 2 older sisters. So my firstborn, my mini mom, she taught me how to cook. There was a bad relationship I was in. I don't know how she heard. I went home during service and she called me. I always remember. I just remember we were sitting on the patio in the seminary in Ogumosh, and she said, "Come, I've heard about so and so. By the time you come back next time, I must have heard that relationship has ended." I was not afraid of my parents. I was afraid of my older sisters too. And Shade, I was afraid. So when I had my daughter and then everything happened, that's the one thing. I always show Corday a picture of her, and I say, "You have a guardian angel."
Yeah.
Because I wanted her to be for my daughter. Sorry.
I know.
What she was for me. So my sisters, I hold them dear. Right now, I have a sister in the US. She adopted, so I have an adopted niece. She's not what my parents were expecting. So when there was a time we came back and they told my father that because we were wearing jeans, we're not going to get married, and we were scaring off the men and everything. And my father said, "You know what? When you come to Ogumosh, no more jeans." Once she said she wasn't coming home, me too. So I was her shadow. So we did not go home for 6 months. My mom had to call and say, "It's okay, please come home."
Come with your jeans.
Her being so individual and so strong gave me ability to be individual and strong as well. So Adetola Adeleru, I love you very much.
We love you.
And I also want to say that, I learned a lot of values from all of my sisters, 4 of them. Comfort. She taught me hard work. Like, she works so hard. Temi Tokwe taught me how to be strong. By the way, shout out to Temi Tokwe. Today she's 43. And then there's Omolayo that I thought was my mom for some reason, because she was always carrying me when I was young. And I stressed her so much to the point that I'll tell Molayo that I'm hungry. I always call her Yayo and be like, "I'm hungry." And my mom would be like, "Okay, Molayo, jobami se shufun. That's help me cook yam." And I'll be like, "No, I want it now, like now." And she's like, she'll be in church, doing the choreography, and I'll be shouting, "Yeah, yo!" So all my life, I thought she was my mom until I grew up, and she really showed me love. Like, Molayo was the one who was telling me about my skin color and how beautiful it is. And then there's Remy. Remy literally taught me real life issues. Like, she'll see a chat on my phone, like, "Who is this boy?"
Exactly. They question, where your parents
they tell you the truth. She will tell me, "This person is trying to groom, and I don't ever want want to see this child again.
Exactly.
I thought they hated me. Like, she would come to school unannounced and she's like, okay, are you good? I just want to check on you. And she would buy me things, buy my roommate things, and they love me so much. I can't even
You
ask
can't
for it.
complain.
I'm
can't
telling
even
you,
ask
I
for it.
love you all so much.
Oh,
Guys,
so beautiful.
our Women Crush Wednesdays are solid.
Yeah.
I'm an only girl.
Yeah.
In the
That's
family.
weird, yeah.
I was wondering.
She's everybody's mommy.
And she's the first.
Yeah.
I'm an only girl. So when I hear stories like this, it warms my heart because I can only just imagine it. But because as the only girl, probably you get indulged by your brothers. Yeah, you learn good and bad things.
Philippe. I know Philippe at least. The name, I mean.
Yes. So you learn good and bad things. But I think for me, what really stood out was being exposed to the different women that came around the houses to visit my mom. I remember one of her friends, Auntie Iwo Ikweme. I can never forget her. You know why? My mother is not the easiest person. Oh my God.
I think that's a lot of.
And daddy loved that bitch.
My mother.
Yeah.
I would just call her husband and say, please, your madam,
Please come here.
no, don't involve me. But you see, there was always a bright spot when Auntie Iwo came into the house. When you will hear her from outside. And she would be calling me, Maite, my body, and then Auntie Iwo would come in all made up, smelling nice, nails done. My mother never did nails.
Ah.
My mother just would put black eye pencil. my mother, that was all. But Auntie Iwo, from the moment Auntie Iwo entered the house, she would hail everybody. If my mother has abused everybody in the house, shouted, but she had special time for me. She always smelled nice. She was always pleasant. She was always smiling.
Is that where you learned scenting from? Or your love for perfumes come from?
Because it's not my mother.
Leave the woman.
No, but for me, Auntie Iwo really stood out because she was always so pleasant. I mean, she was obviously going through what she was going through, but she never wore it on her sleeve. She never, we would look at her like this. Even my brothers would say, oh, wow. That's why I have funny crushes on the woman.
Yeah.
But I was just admiring her. She always had a kind word. When she was around, my mother would laugh more and say, praise the Lord.
Oh.
Wow. We used to call my mother Solomon that time because nobody was as wise as her.
Oh my God.
Bring all the lies, she will figure it out, she will sniff it out. But when Auntie Iwo came to the house, believe me, you could walk up to your mother that time and say, you would like to have some cabin biscuits. My mother, no one away to say no. Auntie Iwo would say, okay. No more say more yum denanga. Give them what they want, and my mother will be forced to now buy us. So it's in the little things.
Yeah.
When we talk about our women crushes, it's not the big things.
Yeah. it's
What
the little
my
things.
girls have shared today wasn't the big things.
Yeah.
The things that stood out for you guys was just a kind word here and there. Your sisters
Yeah.
were always all over you.
Holding
Your
our
sister was your ride or die, or shadow.
Yeah.
Like, I have 2 daughters, and my older daughter, somebody told my youngest daughter that she was plump.
She was what? Plump.
Plum.
Stephanie says, I don't understand. Where's the plump? He said, wait, who is he? I said, child, calm down. Don't be like your mom.
We're ready
Calm
to-
down. Let her be like her mom. He said, who is the person I need to know? And calls the guy out and says, this should be the first and the last time you speak to my sister that way. It's disrespectful. It means you know nothing about being a girl. You don't know anything about the feminine gender. And that's such a pity. I said she went on and on and on. So, when you have a big sister, you have sisters who can stand
Fight
up for you
for
and
you.
be there for you. God,
I think that's so
honestly,
important.
Everything.
That's where, if you're just joining us, you have missed a pinch because we shed a tear or 2 there. But we talked about people that affected us family-wise. We're still on our Women Crush Wednesday, and maybe we should move a little further to people that have, touched us, maybe career-wise. Well, one woman who has truly inspired me based on both career and business is Ibukun Awosika.
I knew.
I was privileged. I attended the Fountain of Life Church. Though she shown me what it means to break barriers and to thrive in a male-dominated industry. Her resilience and leadership in the corporate world are something I truly admire. Her achievements are remarkable. Her vision and her unwavering commitment to excellence serve as a constant reminder that anything is possible with determination and hard work. And I don't know Ibukun because people talk about her. I've known her from when I was very young. I attended the Fountain of Life Church. In fact, that was where I first got married. That was where I learned drama and everything. So she's been our pastor forever. I saw her. And you know this woman, as big as she is there, she's still in church, attending to her husband. And in fact, she had a rainbow baby too. She was quite old when she had her last son. I think it just, one of those things that just traumatized you. And came. But I kept looking at her from afar and I saw her breaking barriers in corporate world. And yet, when you see her in church, she's just Pastor Ivy. So simple, so easy. There's a time she would even wear like joggers to church and she's all cool and trendy. But these are women I find truly admirable because they're not one of those, these days, there are many successful women. But there are many of them that their success is questionable. There are some of them you cannot even follow the antecedents of their growth. For you to even try to shape your life after their footsteps. But these are people, and yet our marriage is thriving. Many people will tell you, because she's that successful, she would never be accessible to her husband. No, she's still mommy. And she has sons. And I see how hands-on she is as a mother.
And you say they don't think of us as octopuses?
No, this one, Pastor Ibuku Awashika is in a class of her own. And the fact that she thrived when male. When she started to do these big things.
She was one of four.
Yes, one of four. At that time. But, I could see how busy she was. But she still made time to attend every service. So those were things that were remarkable for me. That means if there's any woman I would say has it all, I know it can't be easy, but Ibuku Awoshiga
is doing it.
I can remove my fro for her.
I'll take it back to very early in my career when I was on NTA Ogbomoso, and there was a lady I worked with, Alaja Akabi. And when Blessings was sharing her mentoring story, very early on, I was blessed to have her as a mentor. To the fact that my parents knew her, even I think about a few years ago, she saw my dad in events when she had moved to NTA Lorry and everything. And she was like, So one, Emma Shedada, always do well. Always pay off, But she really, really put me through. And this is the days of non-linear and linear editing, VHS editing. I can never forget Alaja Akabi. So for me in career, very early on, and she was married as well. She had kids. She was shuttling between Ilorin and Ogbomoso. She still had time to mentor this girl who was fresh and put me through my paces. I will always remember her. If I ever write a memoir, I'm not sure I want to talk too much about my secrets, but she will be very prominent in it. And aside from that, I think for me, I have to take it. I've loved media for the longest time. Christiana Mpor. Always. When she was on the field for CNN, she was their senior international correspondent on the war front. Seeing her there doing that, winning awards, then a little of the back and forth when she left CNN, then she returned to CNN. I've always been an Amanpour fan to the core. Her style is straightforward. It is to the point. And these days, you see a lot of media people having to come with you have your personality, but there's a little too much razzmatazz. There's a little too much people are putting on to jazz things up. And she's just a really nice, calm voice in the sea of things. And along with her, I also say Becky Anderson. Because I like her style. Becky Anderson. Connecting
and the command, like there's a command in her voice.
Becky has a swagger.
Yes, that's a
and
word.
that's so for me, those are the people in terms of career. So when it comes to the mentoring aspect, I think a lot of us as women need to try better to be more open. I've had people who don't directly work with me that I've mentored. I've had girls reach out to me on DM and I I do what I can. I say, no promises. Life is busy. I'm married. I have a child. I'm working. But I can do what I can because I realize there's so many gaps for so many young girls, particularly in the media industry. And now there's so much liberalization. You don't have to come to a TV station. You can set yourself up on social media and do it, but do it the right way. Do it understanding the ethics and the values of this profession. That's it for me.
You couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, well said.
If we want to move along into faith now, faith is a very important aspect of many of our lives. But the question then would be, who are the women who have inspired us when it comes to faith?
Try to remember her name.
Okay, so I should build the cat.
Okay, let me build the cat. So I didn't name my mom early on when we were doing family because I knew I was going to name her in faith. And the last few years have been very trying for my family. I don't know how a parent buries two children. And it has been their faith that has really been, particularly her. She doesn't wear it. You don't know that she's buried two children, you know? And when they came and they stayed with me, I would constantly worry. I was telling my husband, are they okay? Are they okay? My mom is just, she has accepted it. She has put it in the hands of God. As far as I've known her, she's been, pastor, mission, Reverend Doctor's wife, Mrs. Adelere for all these years. And so being a pastor's kid is one thing. Being a pastor's wife is another level of sacrifice.
Yes.
Sacrifice of your husband sometimes, of your family time sometimes as well. And so when I think about faith, I've seen that. I told you guys, they've been married almost 55 years. I know the marriage wasn't perfect, but faith has carried it. And so if I think about faith in any regard, my mother is tops in that regard. I pray to God to have the faith of my mother, to be able to have the relationship with God that she has, because it's an incredible one. It's one that has seen her through changes, challenges, and the death of children. So for me, faith, that's her.
Honestly, today is a teary day.
I'm telling you.
It's a day that we would cry relentlessly, because when it comes to faith, that's what I knew for so long. Yeah. You know, I don't know why it's channeling this way for us this morning. I would remember the late Pastor Bimbo Ndukoya. She was the first person that I would say mentored me faith-wise, because at that time she was breaking barriers. She was a woman preacher, and in that time women weren't prominent. She was doing what men feared to do. She was doing relationship. It was very novel, but you know, she carried through at that time. She was one of those people that helped me to be able to, you know, come to terms with the fact that a woman can do great things. And I would say I learned a lot of respect. I respect her immensely for that. And there's another quiet person that has inspired my faith. Sister, I know Auntie Biola would never believe I'd say, Biola Shegun Williams.
I know that name.
Biola Shegun Williams is an actress. She
Slim.
was in Tinsel.
With the commanding accent.
Oh, God.
I know the name.
But I call her Mini Mom.
Yes.
I call her Mini Mom because Stabiola has held my hand through tough times. She has helped me, you know, but her faith is relentless. Some years ago, she had a battle with scleroderma. It's some kind of
Skin disease.
Skin stuff that was
talked about it.
so debilitating. I feared at that time. But, you know, in all these things, I would see Sister Biola, the resilience of holding her faith, that nothing, even when things are falling apart, she's like a rock that just stands. And I know that she has inspired me a lot when it comes to faith. She would teach me that, you know, trust in God, hold on to Him. And I'm not just hearing her say it. I'm seeing her do it, even in the most uncomfortable time. There are many private things I cannot say that I know that she had been through. But, you know, when it comes to faith, she held me. When I see her, she's one of those people that if you're not careful, if I'm doing my stoves, I don't want to go around Sister Biola because she just has this, but today, she'll show up what she wants in faith. Are you trusting God?
So what you're talking about for me is an accountability circle. And I think many of us lack it. We have friends, and you know we talked about the levels of friendship. But how many of us have people that can hold us accountable? That if they call you like this, that's not your parents necessarily, your family, and they say, I want to see you. What is going on in this situation? You will start kaloloing and everything. How many of us have those people? And I'll say this as a side note. As a young girl, if you're getting married, look for a man who has people he's accountable to.
Don't do that.
I said it's a side note. I don't want us to go there. No, it's a side note.
Side note, heavy. Heavy.
We all should be accountable to people.
And I think for the ladies too, before you get married, you should have someone you're accountable.
Otherwise, you guys are treading a dangerous path.
Very dangerous, but there are many men right now that is strutting the streets of the world that are not accountable to anyone. That, let me tell you, whether you like it or not, life would happen to you. Nobody plans what happens. Sickness comes, uncertain life, financial situation, or unlikely things, you know, things that are acts of God only. That if you do not have someone who can talk you through some things, you might find it very difficult. There's so many stories I can tell you about people who have helped, people because they're just accountable to them. That no, you shouldn't talk to your husband like that. Yeah. That's wrong. You should go and apologize. And that's just what mended the marriage. But because everybody, and please, the streets of Instagram and social media, hey, don't go and collect your advice from them. Some of those people that are talking to you,
your online in-laws,
they have no idea about what they're talking about.
Yeah. What she said.
Many of you will say, because Lolo is divorced, she doesn't know. Ask a woman that has failed about something. Then you will get true value. There are many people that in their marriages are bearing, giving you a false idea of what it can be. But for those that have failed at it and acknowledged it, where else can you get knowledge if not from such spaces? Yeah. Well, we'll go for...
This is
Are we going
Blessings wanted to say, you wanted to say something?
I don't think I even want to because I'm going to shed tears.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm just going to say that one person who has inspired me a lot, faith-wise, is my mom. I saw what she went through losing her husband, and she almost didn't survive. And one thing she would always say, even when we don't have food to eat the next morning, she would say, we shall be fine, we'll be okay. And she would always say things like, like God is the husband of the widow, the father of the father. This woman had about 13 children to care for with just a tailoring job, collecting 1,000 naira once in 2 days.
No.
It was a lot, right? So,
you have 13 siblings.
No, I have 7. My dad had about 6.
So she took on responsibility
and his wife had died before he died.
Oh,
so
wow. So their mom?
Yeah.
So mommy had
13. So she had a lot of children to take care of, and she had no... I was, it was so constant. Like, growing up, it was really tough for me because my dad wanted me in a private school, and then he put me in a private school and died. So my mom tried to keep it all, but every single term I was sent out for school fees. And when I'm sent, she'd be like, don't worry, you'll go back. It was just very hard watching her do that. But because of her faith, like every morning, this woman wakes up and she would always talk about this scripture of if he dresses the lily and all that. And I'm doubting, like, what are you saying? And she's like, don't worry. I don't want to go into that, but really, these women are true role models, each making a significant impact in their respective fields. So if you're watching, please take a moment to think about one person, that you're grateful for or you're grateful to who have, impacted you in a remarkable way. One remarkable woman who continues to inspire you every day. Remember, their legacy lives on through the positive impact they've had on our lives, whether they're dead or alive. But if they're alive, please give them their flowers. And we have the power to pay it forward by uplifting and empowering other women around us. We're going to a short break, and when we come back, it's Hot Topics. So stay with us.
Hey guys, welcome back to Just Series. Some social media users didn't allow Omotola Jalade Ekinde and her husband, Captain Matthew Ekinde, to enjoy their 28th wedding anniversary. Lolo, I see that eye, but it's okay, we move. After sharing heartfelt pictures of their journey together, some users have raised concerns about the timeline of their relationship. An ex-user pointed out that things happen on this extra. But this user pointed out that Omotola was just 15 years old when her husband allegedly began pursuing her. He is questioning the ethics of a grown man pursuing a teenage girl. So, there we go. La la.
Okay, so they're saying, you all are saying love is a beautiful thing now, but let a northerner marry an 18-year-old lady. We'll start shouting, it's child marriage. Bunch of hypocrites. Let's see if we have another comment. Okay, so this is actually referencing, it says, the first frame, he started asking her out about 30 years ago. As of today, March 24th, Omotola Jalade Ekinde, Omosexy, is 46 years old. So 36, God, I'm so sorry. So 30 years ago, she was 15 years, while he was 25 years. Math it up. A 25-year-old grown man was harassing and sexualizing a 15-year-old Omotola. Are we 28-year-old and 18-year-old? Tears. He's a pedophile. What else do we have? 18-year-old Muslim girl is always too young and be forced to marry, but an 18-year-old Christian girl is not too young. Hypocrites. Ladies, let's take this away because we do have another hot topic.
Toasting her when he was.
So if we look at the timeline in 2024 with the conversations we've had, it is a concern. It is
it's concerning.
It's concerning. But somebody also said in some of the comments I looked in the thread that a lot of us need to go and ask our parents.
Exactly. I think my mom got married at 18.
I think my mom got married 16 or 17.
Well, you know, at that time, I think Yoruba would say Ojududu. That means eyes were still dark.
Eyes were still dark. We still did not know.
But you know, now this era of social media has just made things lighter. Like things that were shrouded in a bit of darkness was, you know, out a little more open. I think in those years, people actually engaged people a little younger. But now that women are more progressive, you know, that's when some of these things are coming to fore. Like, oh, she was really young at that time.
Yeah.
But at that time, it probably would not be that, you know, even if a guy said he was cutting, even if a guy was cutting maybe a 15-year-old at that time, they probably had no sex in it. It's just, you know, buying of biscuits and, you
obviously intentions are known.
Yes, maybe yes. That time is more intentional. I want to marry her.
And then the families are involved.
Yeah, so it's not just about now that
like
a 15-year-old is just being, you know, good and just being used.
Okay, so then it was okay, but now because we are all evolving,
Yes.
It is
now
not.
looks.
But I think it's also contextual to societies. When I was 15, I did not look 15. So I remember one day I was sick. I followed my sister to university. They had like they had different rooms where you could just relax and do study and everything. So she left me to go and get something, but she left me with one of her friends. The guy did not know I was 15, so he started talking to me. My sister stood at the door and she was laughing. When she came in and she told him, "Do you know my sister is 15?" I always remember his name, Brian. The way he jumped up and left. He now went to her later and was apologizing because that's a society. And this is how many 20-something years ago that does not approve of it and never approved of it. But in this same society in the US, there are states where girls who are 16 years old can get married. There are states where 15-year-olds don't even have consent. It's only their parents that need to consent. So I think there's a conversation around it that's been an old conversation. This is 28 years on. We know better, so that's why they're getting... would you say they're getting called out? I think they're getting called out. Or he's getting called out.
I don't think should be, because like Tolu said, let's consider the timeline. If after 25 years, like 25 years from now, the appropriate age to get married is 30. They will call out anybody who marries at 23. You know, so I don't think, because I believe that the reason her children are not married or did not get married at 15 is because now she knows better. So we shouldn't call them out because they did what they did when it was okay to do what they did.
You see, my own is the way Nigerians just got into it. They masked the whole thing up. These are people who are just celebrating. Guys, we've been together for this long. We've had good times, bad times, and you guys went all mathematical.
If anybody is calling out, they should call Biola and my sister out and her husband. Yes, because I think they've been dating since they were in secondary school.
Yeah, let's be honest. A lot of Nigerians are allergic to happy people.
So
they say yes.
Do you think that's what this is?
Yes.
I don't think it's about being allergic.
Because they know that they've been married since. Why are you calculating
if they break up now?
Why not just...
I was thinking about that. Why wasn't this calculated last year?
Probably they look too happy for graduates. They just celebrating.
We've known Omotala for years.
And suddenly...
and everything is thriving.
And why you give them 28 years with this? Omotala is the industry that Omotala is in as well. She has aged fantastically. They have a beautiful family. I still have my questions. I don't know. But of course, at the end of the day, as we said, there's a lot of context to it because of when it happened versus the now. Do we know better?
You know, and do we really know better now? Parents were okay with it then. And, they weren't engaging in sin.
I don't
like. But Catherine, is it easy to say if the parents were okay with it then? Because how many arranged marriages happened then that the parents were okay with, that the girl or the boy was not okay with? Is that enough of a validation?
So why exactly are we not calling out Regina Daniels?
No, we've had that.
How old
we haven't had it.
Wasn't she 18 when she got married?
I don't know.
Is 18 not the legal adult age?
It's legal adult age, but even psychology tells you that even at 18 years, your brain is not still fully formed.
So, like, if we want to call out, see, this again is why I said a lot of Nigerians.
Can we go to the next story?
If they are divorced, I'm sorry. If they are come out to announce their divorce, nobody would calculate.
They will go all out.
Not one person.
They will circulate.
They will just be like, oh, they were forming happy all the while.
Producer,
I know.
I wonder why it's me that is taking this topic. I have my eyes on it.
I might have been the one to put it there. We don't know.
Whoever did this.
Shall go to the topic.
Moving on to our second hot topic. In the video that has been circulating online, Pastor Funke Adejumo Reverend Funke Adejumo has encouraged ladies to pay close attention to their parents and behavior when visiting their in-laws. She emphasized the importance of making a positive impression and fostering good relationship. The advice has sparked a conversation online. A lot of ladies have critiqued it for perpetuating traditional gender roles and societal expectations. Let's take a look at the video. At least, let's hear her.
Some of it.
Some of it.
Please pretend that day. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Stand up. Ah, my daughter, stand up. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Okay? So you stand up. When you get inside, sit on the very first seat. Don't walk around, the length of the house. Just enter and sit down. When you sit down, you may not realize they may be watching you through the keyhole because you've gone there for your entrance exam. Your own is more than the man. So you calmly remember what you wear. It will not be something you'll be looking for scarf and be pushing like this, and then one high heel shoe that you are shaking. No. Be as comfortable as possible. Not that your cleavage, everything is opening. If you must look around, turn your eyes, not your head.
This life is beautiful. Honestly, I wouldn't say nothing because I don't want anybody to hit me with a traditional arrow.
What is the traditional arrow?
Because I know feminists are on this table. Feminists are on this
I don't
table.
understand. So when you choose when you want to choose to be quiet. So you choose. I don't
Honestly,
understand.
if you want me to start, I do not think what she's saying is wrong.
Seconded.
Because all I'm saying is that when you're visiting your in-laws for the first time, you should have decorum. Why would I want to visit my in-laws with your cleavage hanging out of your clothes? It's just respect and decency.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people would also have issues with the fact that she said pretend. But let's be honest,
It's just a use of
because
words
a lot
that
of
just
times.
maybe she wanted to just say comport yourself.
No, I would even say pretend because
Yeah,
a lot
pretend
of people
if you have to.
don't have like and
They're old
again,
school.
looking at the
That's where the problem
cultural
starts. Pretending.
Oh,
You pretend
so-
you have an orgasm, you didn't have an orgasm. You pretend you're enjoying kissing him, you're not enjoying kissing
That's
him.
your
As he's kissing
that's
you, you're
your own
saying,
detriment.
Pretending is a problem. Go there with your food. I'm not saying go there naked.
You should go in the
Go there in your own skin because when you like it or not, this pretend for in-laws. One day they go come house and they will tell you they come.
But you're already married. You don't have to except your husband is
So
a
who are we deceiving? No.
People don't think there's anything like deception in what she's saying.
Let me tell you the
When
truth.
you're
right?
going to your
cajoling your in-laws to like you. Is that what you're saying?
No, you're just showing the respect
These are
that they
older
want you
people.
to.
But you can show respect if you wear your jeans and your crop top, if that's what you usually wear.
So you wear crop top to visit your in-laws with your belly button.
I don't have
hanging outside.
in-laws, but I'm saying that if I have in-laws,
I will be an in-law one day and I have 3 sons. None of my children will bring.
So wait, there's another video and we can't even take reactions. Let's quickly take this video that shows some welcoming in-laws.
When is Oyibo stuff?
So I think
don't understand. Because
Is this how Oyibo stuff?
So I think at the end of the day, I understand where Pastor Adejumo is coming from.
Yeah.
I don't think necessarily the advice is a bad one.
Bad
I also
one.
see Catherine's perspective. Because let me tell you, there are too many people. There are many, many ladies in this country and around the world who will do everything to check the list to be wife material and get married. And then bad characters start showing.
Oh, God.
And it can be as simple as pretending for your in-laws. But I also understand the cultural context.
Yeah.
So we just saw a white lady who...
So what
if we're expecting it of Nigerian women, and people are saying, oh, this is why Nigerian men are now marrying outside, Nigerian women are badly behaved, we should expect it of anybody who's marrying into the culture. So at the end of the day, if I'm going to my in-laws, if they say I should kneel down,
You
I
kneel
will
down.
Exactly. So
but also this thing about clean the house, do the dishes.
No.
Wait,
Those
I'm
are
going
extremes.
somewhere. They're not
Wait.
extremes because that's why I said unfortunately because of time we can't take reactions. On first visits to houses, people have ended up frying puff. What are we talking about?
So there's a limit. See,
No,
the thing
there are
is,
some
you
levels
have
that
to be
are
able
too
to-
much.
You have to be able to draw the line.
Okay, hold
now,
on.
What I'm
Draw
saying
the
about
line.
pretense, right, is that let's say I'm someone from, let's say, the Igbo culture, and the Yoruba people like, when you kneel down and greet them.
But it's
it
against
doesn't
your
necessarily-
culture.
It's not against.
No.
It's not against. You're just not used to it. So it doesn't necessarily
Okay,
mean
guess
that
so.
they would hate you if you don't do it. But it will make them, accept you more. Now, do I need validation from my in-laws? Absolutely not. But would it be extra credit if they liked me? Yes.
So if you go to your in-laws, your
ease.
future in-laws, and they say, my daughter, nice to come and show us your cooking skills.
No,
Come
no,
and
no,
fry
no, no,
puff
no.
puff.
On the first
If
day.
the husband
Did I
is
tell their
no,
son I was
that's
a
not
Okay,
chef?
so,
my
ladies,
chef?
so you can see that this
No,
one
there
we're
are
just
many
getting
extremes
started
to
with it. It's going to come back on Friday.
come back?
When we have our hot topic special and our guest is joining. And that
We're not
guest,
done.
I know he's going to have something to say. Guys, we need to leave because of time, but we're just getting into this topic, so make sure on Friday, Hot Topic Special, you are with us. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us today, and thank you to all the women who inspire us around us, who impact us everywhere, from our families to our careers and so much more. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. I almost said p.m. Bye-bye.